it began with a small casual project that I thought of as a life drama, where I decided to put myself in the place of another artist, and I decided for the first one to choose an artist that was in a way not really living the artist's life because of just lack of information. He was going to be a painter of decorative paintings that go with couches, and I decided to do a series of paintings for the furniture gallery. It's a small gallery off the furniture section of Lord & Taylor's upscale department store in New York, and so I collected some information just about what I thought those paintings should involve in terms of subject matter and so on. And I did spend a month doing 9 paintings, and then I approached the woman who ran the gallery, and she's agreed to an interview. And so I brought several of the paintings and slides of the other paintings up and tried to arrange a show. And apparently I wasn't capable of doing painting that bad a painting that well. And so she suggested, she was supportive, but who knows what she really thought. But she suggested I work for a year and then come back. And so that was pretty much the end of it as I foresaw carrying it. But then I decided to lose the paintings, and so I saved one, but the other 8 are now out of my hands. I don't know where they are. I gave 2 of them to my landlord when I left New York, and he's deceased now, so his sons inherited them and took them to the Goodwill or whatever. I mean,
and were they signed, Stephen?
They were signed by me, and so then I decided the next piece was a more complex piece. I decided to create a sculptor, and I thought of him as not as tragic as the first drama, but and not as comic either, and yet maybe even more so in a way, because what I wanted to do was make a bronze sculptor who did work that might be seen in a high-end gallery that was pretty much disconnected with contemporary art, something that was aesthetic but not really knowledgeable about the purposes of art and the real potential that fine art holds. So I was thinking of someone you might run into in a high-end gallery in La Jolla or something.
Okay.
So that work, I was in the middle of that project. I cast bronzes during the summer, and that was the year I decided to really go for a big project, and so that one got somewhat put on hold, and what I decided to do is to make a regional artist. I had named that artist. I'd given him another name. His name was Clyde Dillon, and so he got put on hold for a while because I decided to actually duck out of the contemporary art world and move to the boonies and see if I could establish my reputation again, starting anew, but as a regional artist, someone who did painting and sculpture that incorporated some of the understandings I developed in doing work, but not really conversant with contemporary art. I was interested in things like what kind of connection would develop between the contemporary art world and this regional persona. This is what I refer to as hyperrealism, because this life that I've lived for the last 40 years is not an artificial life. It's truly me. It's expressing a part of my aesthetic that I wasn't expressing directly in my contemporary art. But I mean, there were things like I got married and had children, and that wasn't all just put on. It's a real thing. I became a Christian. That's not a joke. I mean,
Really?
it might be. Yeah, I'm sorry. It actually happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I had no intention of doing it. I was in a much cooler. I was a Zen Buddhist, which was a whole lot cooler, but it just took me over. So hard to explain. Except that, what I'm saying is hyper real. These things are all truly things that, and that's really what I intended when I decided to go for this big project. I decided to make it actually like a bite of my life, a big bite of my life. When I was thinking this over, I estimated that within 10 years, contemporary art would catch up with me, and that would sort of close. And then I thought at 20 it would, then a quarter of a century, and now finally, 40 years later, it is beginning to come together a little bit in the sense that there's going to be an article in Art Forum talking about these life dramas. And that's still too early to tell. I'm making it possible by just walking the walk.